what you do. Every one of us is in sales. Every one of us has to sell ourselves, sell our products, sell the idea of what we're trying to convey. And we all need to understand that what we do, we are not an island. We don't do it by ourselves. So there are very few people that I deal with throughout my life that I can honestly say, talk about sales as the art of sales. And my brother from another mother here is one who definitely does agree to that concept with me. The art of sales. Sales is an art form. It's not a job. It's not a career. It's a way of life. And if you work hard at it, you will be able to do it easier and better and more effectively. But one aspect of sales, and what I want to talk about today, is using the strategic alliance to help further yourself as a salesperson. Now, sales, as you know, is defined as the art of bringing people and goods together to be exchanged for money or some other equivalent. Whether you're bartering your services, whether you're actually exchanging tangible currency, you are selling. And that exchange is very important. I gave a presentation at Lynn Middle School this week for a career day, and I got every one of those kids, and that's the 7th grade class, to reiterate to me that nothing in this happens in the world before a sale takes place. And that's so true. A sale takes place at every turn. But while we're out selling, what our job is to do is to communicate and demonstrate our own reliability. If somebody wants to do business with me, they've got to understand and believe that I am truly reliable. They've got to believe that my company is reliable. They've got to understand that the community where they're living and working is reliable. So we demonstrate reliability at all turns. We also assert our own credibility. And by asserting our own credibility, I can go to Ron and say, Ron, I am credible, and I know that you've got to know that. Or I can demonstrate to Ron how credible I am by acting credibly. And I've also got to establish relationships. Relationship building is vital to the success of everything that we do, in my opinion, in the art of sales. Relationship building is vital because relationship building helps to create that credibility. It helps to advance the credibility, and it helps to have other people speaking for you in terms of your own reliability. Remember that sales is a numbers game. In sales, the more you do, the more you get. And you've got to be out selling, 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 talking to people, meeting new people at all turns. So the more people I meet, the easier it will be for me to meet or exceed my goal. And that's just basic math. I had a boss one time that would always say, show me the numbers. You can never, the numbers always tell the truth. And if you're not making the sales, you're not making the numbers. So sales is definitely that numbers game. But as we go through our process, we have to understand that we've got to work smarter. We want to work smarter rather than harder. We want to meet more people. We want to make more sales. And by doing that, we'll stay sane. Because the art of sales is a sanity stealer. You can go crazy, ramming your head against that brick wall, or trying to figure out how am I going to make these sales. If you're not meeting the goals and making the relationships, you're not going to do it, or you're going to have a harder time with it. But how do you do all this? How do you stay sane? How do you demonstrate your reliability? How do you communicate your credibility? And it's all through the strategic alliance. And by strategic alliance, I'm not necessarily saying just by going out and meeting somebody and saying, hey Joel, I'm with Comcast, you got to tell your friends about me. It's a strategic alliance. It's by meeting people who have complementary lines of business. It's meeting people who have interests similar to yours. It's by meeting people who are kind of fighting the same fight that you're fighting. Okay? We, by virtue of our involvement in this committee, are building a strategic alliance. Does that make sense? Strategic alliances are key. Now, a strategic alliance, in its basic definition, when we talk about the strategic part, it is a plan or action, especially for achieving a goal. It is a conscientious effort to do something. The alliance is a union or relationship by kinship, friendship, marriage, etc. Now, I think it's funny when you're talking about that prospect of strategic alliances that marriage comes in there. But marriage is one of the most strategic alliances that we all come into. And that is, you realize that you want to have a healthy life, you want to have a partner, somebody to be able to share your successes and your problems with, your issues, and have children, grow your family, further your own legacy. But that is a very strategic alliance that you go into. And you don't jump into it just by saying, hey, I'm going to get married today, or I'm going to go have kids today. You work on it, you plan on it. Do you realize that we spend more time with the people we work with than we do with our spouses or the significant others in our lives? That should say something about how you should plan those strategic alliances in your daily life, in your work life. You will benefit more from having quality strategic alliances that you are cognizant of and work hard at every day, and your company will benefit more from that. When you're talking about the strategic alliances, it's important to realize that there are different types of alliances that you can deal with. And as a business person, you want to be conscious of these alliances. How do you develop strategic alliances, and where do you develop them? Where do you find them? Well, you can go to existing customers. Existing customers are excellent places to start to develop strategic alliances. Can anybody think of one reason why?
Referrals.
Exactly.
Referrals.
Existing customers are very important because they are happy, hopefully. If they're not happy, it's an opportunity for you to learn and figure out what you got to do to make them happy. They will reinforce you to other people. Happy customers are strong alliances. They're valuable, valuable resources. When I was giving my presentation at Lynn the other day, we talked about pros and cons, and people the kids would freak out when I would say, if you have a complaint about Comcast, I want to hear it. And there are people that I walk into businesses and they say, oh, Comcast. And it's almost like a challenge to say, I hate Comcast, or I don't like Comcast, or I have DirecTV. And there was a little kid who specifically, he kept on chiming in, I have DirecTV and I love it. I have DirecTV and I love it. And he thought he was getting a rise out of me, which he wasn't, but he thought he was also being entertaining for the rest of the class. And I let him say it a few times, and then we talked about that situation. And I explained to him, I'm so glad that you love DirecTV, because you are the type of customer that I want. I want a customer who is going to talk about my brand to everybody that they meet and be loyal and really be happy that they are on service with me. Because if I can win you over as a customer, you're going to be just as loyal to me. By the end of that session, we had the little 30-minute sessions. By the end of that session, he said, I'm going to tell my mom and dad to change it. But the reality is that existing customers are a valuable source for strategic alliances. Friends and family are also a valuable source for strategic alliances. If you go out and you think about who you interact with, who your friends are, who your family are, you have referral sources from them, but you have alliances in those people. And a lot of us, I'm guilty of this, don't capitalize on those. I am not a high-pressure salesman. I've sold a lot of different products, some products that my family didn't ever need over the years, but I also would say, you know what, I know you're my brother, you know what I sell, you know where I work, when you need it, come talk to me. And then I'd find out that my brother's using a competitive product, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Why don't you know that, can't you read between the lines? Well, the reality is, if I don't use it, if I don't ask for it, if I don't develop it, they're going to think that I don't want it.